The tribe has spoken, an infamous phrase uttered by the words of host Jeff Probst as he snuffs one's torch, eliminating them from the game with $1 million cash prize. It's understandably a heartbreaking situation, with most people becoming very understandably emotional, but for a rare few they could have prevented it. The hidden immunity idol can block all votes in a tribal council, allowing a contestant essentially a free bypass for a round of gameplay they would have likely been eliminated in. Now, people are very rarely eliminated while in possession of a hidden immunity idol, as if you feel you're in danger, you're obviously going to play it. In most seasons, you'd be lucky to see one person voted out with an idol in their pocket. Island of the Idols for the longest time took the crown, with 3 players being eliminated with idols in their pocket: Vince, Chelsea and then Kellee, who had 2 in her possession at the time of her blindside. Considering Island of the Idols forced hidden immunity idols down contestants' throats, as well as a modern era containing comparatively less idols, it was assumed this record would never be broken. Enter Survivor 46, considered by many to be the quote-unquote modern-day Survivor Gabon, due to its sheer insanity. This has been evidenced by 5 of the 12 voted out contestants being eliminated with an idol in their pocket. An insane stat, and one that will probably never be broken. However, if we're talking in technical terms, there's actually 6 contestants eliminated in this season with an idol in their pocket, and the first was Randen. Randen found the Beware advantage in episode 2, which is a modernised redux of the idol, allowing the contestants to find a key to a locked box with an idol in it. However, the clue to the idol would only be given to the contestants after they lost a challenge, or at the very end of the pre-merge, and until they unlock the box, they lost their vote. Unlike the other 5 we'll be covering in this video, I think if Randen actually stayed in the game, he would have played his idol. He had a strong awareness he was near the bottom of the Nami tribe, and formed an alliance with Venus, who was also on the bottom, by telling her about his idol. By day 6, Randen awoke to a numb feeling in his right arm and wrist, preventing him from gripping with his hand. It was initially assumed to be a pinched nerve, but as time went on the doctors feared it could be a bulging disc, with the only way of them knowing would be to remove him from the game to have an MRI scan. Randen has explained in Express he attempted to pass off his idol to Venus before being evacuated from the game, but he couldn't find a moment to give it to her in private, and wasn't entirely certain around the rules surrounding idol passing in this season. While it certainly left Venus in a precarious position, she still made a deep run. However, if he did pass off his idol to her, we still would have probably ended up with her in the same placement, because Venus is one of the 5 on Survivor 46 to have been voted out with their own idol eventually. This video is sponsored by Survivor Castaway Island, a game that lets you play Survivor from the comfort of your own home, available on Xbox One, Xbox Series X, PS4, PS5, Nintendo Switch, Steam and the Epic Games Store. Do you have what it takes to be the sole survivor, or will you be snuffed before the finishing line? Purchase the game for yourself, and see if you have what it takes to earn the crown. On the topic of women with idols, Jem was the first person to get the ball rolling on the eventual 5-person train of those voted out with idols in their pockets. Jem recalls her blindside as a shock, as she constantly received affirmation that everyone on her tribe was on her side for the Ben blindside. Unfortunately for Jem, there was a counter-alliance consisting of Tim plus Ben and Maria, as well as Charlie, who swung to their side. In fact, Jem notes that as soon as the first vote for her came up, she knew she had to play her idol. As we see on the show, several of the contestants found Jem to have poor social skills in her boot round, and to some even came off as somewhat threatening.
If you only knew what we laugh about.
I don't care what you laugh about,
okay,
but I want to be part of the laugh is what I'm saying.
Okay. I don't know, dude, you're holding a machete.
While Jem's elimination with an idol in her pocket has a pretty cut and dry storyline, unfortunately the same can't be said for the rest. An example of this is the Hunter blindside, where still to this day fans question what actually happened. If you remember a short while back, I mentioned Randen found the idol on Nami, but he was medically evacuated, and so the idol was put back into circulation. This is an important rule forming the fundamental mechanics for the contestants like Venus and Q that found their idols at the merge. However, Hunter was still in the pre-merge section of the game and accepted the Beware advantage trials. Despite this, Hunter's tribe never actually went to tribal council, meaning the second clause of his idol activated. Hunter had a few minutes to find the buried key before the tribes arrived at his camp. Ultimately, he found it at the bottom of the steps and obtained his idol. At the merge, Hunter had a massive target identified as both a likeable individual and a challenge threat. By the final 9, he had been blindsided at the Tevin boot, causing him to be on the bottom, but he had an idol. Hunter reveals on RHAP that he came into Tribal Council wanting to play his idol, and knowing the Sega 3 would put votes onto him, but figured they were splitting it. He could then use this information to put 5 votes onto Q, saving him for a round while he received a minimum of 4. Unfortunately, by Hunter's own admission, he failed to read Tiffany, who was the deciding factor at this tribal, and despite getting close to eliminating Q in a 4-4-1 vote, he was ultimately eliminated on the revote. He potentially may have been saved on this revote if he didn't tell the likes of Kenzie, Liz and Venus about his idol. But with him being a likeable challenge beast holding onto an idol, the risk was too great. However, this also presents the shortcomings of having a known idol, seen in the very next round by Tiffany. At this stage, Tiffany was the only contestant with an idol in play. However, both her Yanu peers and Kenzie and Q knew about it. For a long time, Tiffany, being very strategic alongside her idol, worried Kenzie, and she wanted to get her out. However, this was only the beginning. Q told practically everyone about Tiffany's idol 2 rounds beforehand, so while she survived the Tevin plus Hunter tribals with no issue, everyone wanted to build up a revolt against her at the final 8. Now, Tiffany actually intended to use the idol this round to burn it and alleviate their targets similar to Hunter. However, in an unaired strategy talk, Charlie actually convinced Tiff to keep her idol because he wanted to use it to bounce the votes onto Maria, thus blindsiding her. Although ultimately the plan didn't work out and Tiff was blindsided. At this stage in the game, it was a pretty insane feat with 3 individuals being voted out with idols in their pocket. It was an insane feat for the modern era, especially for this type of rare vote out to happen 3 times in a season. However, it only continued. A weird sub-trend that happened in the last 2 episodes of Survivor 46 are contestants finding idols and then being voted out with them in the exact same round. As I previously explained, when all idols are taken out of the game, they are re-hidden back on the island. This has been a long established rule in Survivor, happening before even the modern era, so everyone was searching for it. Venus eventually found it, marking the 3rd Nami to find an idol, but wanted to keep it. You see, at the stage Q, someone we'll cover shortly, had annoyed just about everyone. He had burnt bridges and constantly divulged information he shouldn't have. Despite being blindsided at the previous Tiffany vote, Venus assumed her, Liz, Kenzie and Charlie could come together to reclaim the majority. Instead, a last-minute conversation threw Charlie off, making him think she had an idol, and everyone eventually sided against Venus, but did so in a way that prevented her from catching wind. However, it never really seemed like Venus intended to use the idol this round anyway. As she stated in Exit Press, she wanted to pass the round with social gameplay, rather than ending up at Final Tribal Council only because she played an idol on herself. Although Venus's plan to get out Q this round may have failed, she somewhat got the last laugh concerning the next episode. This is because, believe it or not, the final 6 of Survivor 46 was almost a carbon copy of the prior round. I don't know where they found Q, but since the final 12 he essentially actively tried to get himself voted out, yet kept surviving round after round, which in a weird way is actually really impressive and good casting. But Q had lots of enemies wanting to turn the table on him and Maria. Maria won immunity this round, so everyone established Q was the target. However, this was another case of the clear target in the episode finding the idol. Although idols expired at the final 5, so there was no reason for Q to hold on to it, especially when he was in the firing line, right? There couldn't be a 4th person in a row eliminated with an idol in their pocket, right?
Time for the help. Appreciate it, boss.
Yep. To be fair to Q, in Exit Press, he paints a logical picture of what he expected to happen. He figured Charlie would be voted out due to winning immunity challenges and being a very likeable individual, allowing Q to idle at 5. Q has also stated he was the best at fire making, so if we take him at his word, if he survived this round, he should make it to the final 3. But that was the bizarre history of people being voted out with idols in 46. Let me know what you thought the best blindside of the 5 was, and out of the 5, who absolutely should have played their idol. If you want more modern Survivor content, check out this video where we discuss the best heroes from Survivor 41 to 45. But nevertheless, have a good day. Peace!